What's up everyone, today I'm trying out the recently rebalanced Spark on Lanturn in this double electric line that also features Shadow Ampharos with its new move, Trailblaze. I'm running Lickitung in the lead here as it covers the electrics quite nicely because it's able to beat most ground and grass types that the electrics really struggle with, and it can also deal with Metacham and A-Slash, which aren't very fun to deal with either. In this game, I lead into a Metacham, and because it's not running Dynamic Punch or Power Punch, I'm actually going to be able to win the zeros here. Lickitung, as long as the Metacham doesn't have Dynamic Punch, the zero is actually very good. Even with Power Punch, you're able to get off 2 body slams. Pretty nice. But versus Dynamic Punch, I wouldn't be able to. Luckily, it was Psychic though, so I'm able to take lead. They switch in Registeel, which I don't want to get farmed down by Lickitung, so just instant swap into Ampharos. If I don't get the debuff here, 2 Brutal Swings will knock out, plus the Volt Switches, but they actually Zap Cannon and I shield it, and this is pretty bad. I was expecting them to just go for Focus, as going for Zap is a bit risky, but they were expecting me to shield through the Zap. I got the debuff, and this is now not looking amazing for me, because if I want to save my Ampharos here, I'm going to have to double shield, which I do end up doing. You know, I kind of want to make this a bit of an Ampharos showcase as well. In comes Gligar though. This is far from ideal as it's a ground type versus my electrics. But they shield my first Trailblaze, which is amazing. It's 7 wing attacks for the dig, which means we CMP tie on this Brutal Swing, which they also use a shield on. And now it's looking pretty good, as one Surf from Lanturn should be able to put it low enough to where I can Spark or Lick down. It's 6 for the second dig, so I'm gonna try to catch it, but unfortunately they didn't throw. Still, I got a nice amount of lick damage in here, which should allow the Surf to basically knock out here. I think it's might barely not, but then I should still be able to Spark down before they reach another dig. And I do. Yes, Spark down the Gligar. GG. Okay, next match we have Alolan Sandslash in the lead. This is a pretty awkward matchup which is a really bad matchup for Ampharos actually, and it's a pretty even but awkward matchup for Lanturn. So that's why I stay in with Lickitung here, because this is a fine matchup. I resist the fast moves. You switch out to the Metacham, and I want to get a bit of chip on it, so I throw a Body Slam, switch into my Lanturn with the little bit of chip. I should be able to take it out with the Sparky Dolphin. Do I shield this? I'll probably shield this, right? Yeah. Using a shield here is fine, as that will allow me to have a lot of health going into the next matchup. If they were to let this go, and if they shield it, that's cool too. They know there's another Psychic, which I should still be able to survive. Do go for the Surf immediately though, because even if they throw a Psychic, you know, it's not like I can overfarm a lot, as the counters would knock me out if I try to like build up to an extra Surf. As you can see, Psych almost knocks me out, but I'm able to Spark them down before they can counter me down. Unfortunately, the Sandslash is able to farm me down before I get to a Surf though, but Lickitung should be able to eat up this energy nicely. Gonna go for an Ice Punch. At this point, I just stay in with Lickitung, throw as many Body Slams as I can, get it into a range where Ampharos can hopefully farm down later. First Body Slam coming through, I let it go. Get to a second here. At this point, I'm thinking they're 4 away from the next Ice Punch, so I actually switch into Ampharos, assuming I can farm down, but unfortunately they get to another move, and this is pretty bad. I'm expecting a Water type in the back, but if it's like a Zoomerl, which it is, I really needed that shield there, as I'm pretty sure Player Rough would knock me out. Player Rough is 6 bubbles though. They've only thrown 2 so far. Actually, I think they've thrown 3. Anyway, they get to the move, and it's just an Ice Beam, which I survive, so still win this game, even though I did misplay it a little bit. Ideally, I would have just stayed in with Lickitung there, thrown the Body Slam right before they got to the next Ice Punch, and then I would have been really safe. But luckily, since they didn't get to the Play Rough, or they didn't have to Play Rough, I was still fine. Next lead, we have a Sableye. This is pretty good for Lickitung. Oh, by the way, I haven't talked about Ampharos moveset yet. I'm running Brutal Swing, Trailblaze. I think that is the way to go. Other moveset options are Thunder Punch instead of Brutal Swing, but Brutal Swing and Thunder Punch are very similar in like a neutral situation. For example, in the first game versus Registeel, I was throwing Brutal Swing, and you might think that Thunder Punch will be like much better there since it's stab, but Thunder Punch is actually a worse move than Brutal Swing. So in neutral matchups like versus Registeel, Brutal Swing actually only does 1 less damage than Thunder Punch. which is not a huge difference at all. It is a slight difference, but it's not huge. So personally, I prefer Brutal Swing just because it gives some nice coverage. You're able to hit ghost types with it for super effective, and you're able to hit like grass types with it for neutral, which can be pretty huge too. Anyway, in this game, I actually got my Ampharos aligned to the Tentacruel. Was able to farm it down, get a bunch of energy here. I threw a Trailblaze into the Sandslash, because I just threw it immediately, which wasn't good. But I did do a nice chunk, and I was able to get a shield with the Brutal Swing I threw after. And now I'm just bringing Lanturn. Throw the Surf into the Sandslash, and this should knock him out. Actually, it doesn't yet, but I'm able to lick down, so that's a good game. All right, next match. Oh, the Core Breaker. Yeah, this is trouble. This is a lot of trouble for Lickitung. Steelix just really walls this Pokemon at the moment, especially shields up. And if it's able to throw a Breaking Swipe early, yeah, Lickitung just does no damage. Look at this. Oh, okay, it did no damage because they used the shield, of course, which is not necessary if you're a Steelix here. They could honestly just use no shields and be fine. Now, this allows him to get out of this matchup with even more health, though, and a lot of energy, so this is quite a lot of trouble. Luckily, though, it is in a range where Surf would knock out, so I got that going for me. I go for the Body Slam, which they don't shield, of course. Bring in my Lanturn, and I thought there's no way they're throwing Earthquake here. They're just gonna Breaking Swipe again. Nope, they go for the Earthquake, almost knock out my Lanturn, and this Steelix has just taken out half my team, or 2/3 basically. Anyway, Sableye comes out, I bring out Ampharos. Maybe I should have surfed here. If I surfed the Sableye before dipping out to Ampharos, I might have been able to full switch it down and have 2 Brutal Swings loaded for the Steelix, but I did not do that, so now I just gotta farm it down with Ampharos, use a shield while we're at it, and also make the mistake of not throwing my Brutal Swing immediately here. I didn't think that, honestly, I kind of didn't count the Dragon Tails here, and I didn't think they'd be yet another Breaking Swipe, but they were, and yeah, it really hurts me as the Steelix just basically took out all my team, and now this Azu is just gonna bubble down my Lanturn. So yeah, this team, if you're expecting to face Steelix, it's not very good. I think this team would probably be better with something else, or an Ampharos in the middle that does better against Steelix. Like maybe a Gligar would be pretty good here, or maybe a Metacham would be solid. I think that's basically the meta. Medi, Licky, Lanturn, honestly. Talk about Medi, Ampharos doesn't really do well against it. Unfortunately, I just barely don't get to the Brutal Swing right there. Which, yeah, it's pretty sad. But fine, I can farm this down with Licky now. Get a Body Slam loaded for whatever they had in the lead. Oh, which was Charizard, yeah. Body Slam does enough here to where they definitely have to shield. Or they just get so low where I can Spark down before they even reach a move, probably. Okay, Lanturn shield advantage versus their Lanturn is looking pretty good. But they might still be able to play their way out of this if they manage to hit a Surf Bait or two. If they get like 2 Surf Baits and then hit a Thunderbolt, that would actually be problematic. And they hit the first Surf Bait. Since they shielded, or no shield, my first Thunderbolt though, I think I'm looking pretty decent here, as I can just surf them at this point and should be able to outpace before they reach another Thunderbolt. Problem is though, the Charizard has some energy, which means I think if I didn't undercharge that it would have outpaced my Lanturn. I'm pretty sure they're now 2 away from the Blast Burn, which means I need to get there on 1 Spark, and I do. So that undercharge, I believe, was pretty vital. Otherwise, I would have gotten taken out by the Blast Burn, I think. Blast Burn definitely does like 40%, which would have been enough. Jellicent in the lead. This is amazing, because I have 3 hard answers to it. Honestly, I wouldn't call Ampharos a hard answer. Shadow Ball probably a one-shot, but 3 pretty good answers in Licky, Lanturn, and Ampharos. So they switch in Metacham. I don't have to save my Lickitung for that Jellicent, so I just stay into the Medi. Catch the second Ice Punch, or Power Punch on my Lanturn though, as I didn't want my Licky to take too much damage. There might still be a Pokemon in the back that Lickitung is useful for, so just catch the energy on Lanturn as it does less there. And now I'm just gonna take it out here. They need, I think, 4 more, actually 5 more counters for the power punch. They didn't overfarm at all, so they need 5 for each. I'll throw my surf right before they get there. Now they get to another one. But I live. So I let it go. Gonna go for another surf right away. Take out the Medi. And then I get my Lickitung and Ampharos aligned where I'm gonna want them. Actually, it's a Sableye. So I can just switch in my Lickitung here. Sableye does much better versus Licky than Jelly does. So they're definitely staying in here. Oh, I'll get a little bit of lag, but it doesn't matter at this point. Ampharos can probably farm down the Sableye and then take care of the Jellicent. So we're looking pretty good, yeah. Ooh, nice Ampharos game to finish off the day. Let's see what Ampharos can do here. I do wonder how much a Trailblaze does to a Jelly. I think I did throw Trailblaze, right? Do I? Yeah. 2 Volt Switches for 3 Hexes. That is the proper timing. Go for the Trailblaze, and it does a very disappointing amount of damage. But because of the attack race, the Volt Switch did knock out, and that's a final GG right there. Again, this team not very serious. Well, Licky Lanturn is very serious. It's a very good core. Ampharos, I don't know. It's just not good enough in the neutral scenarios. You saw it against Medicham there earlier, and it did pretty bad. So, not a Pokemon I recommend. But if you want to run this team, better third, like I said earlier, maybe consider running like Ligar or Medi in the middle, and you got a very solid but meta team. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.